There have been a lot of new cars released recently which actually aren't all that new. Take this new Volkswagen Polo for example, bar some reworked engines, some extra kit and some styling tweaks, it's pretty much as it was before. Come on, I mean, does it look any different to you from the outside? Only the VW anoraks will be able to spot the new lights, different bumpers and a fresh grille. It's the same story inside the Polo's well-made, if a little bit conservative cabin. The only major change is the addition of a touchscreen like you get with the Golf. It's got that proximity sensor so that when you put your finger near the screen, the extra menu pops up. And then when you've selected your band, you can choose which station you want to listen to by swiping through them, a bit like you swipe through your apps on your smartphone. Speaking of which, you've got Bluetooth connectivity and you can connect your phone or your USB stick to the car through that USB port down there. This car has air conditioning, but you don't get it on the very entry-level car, and you will really need it on a day like today. I wouldn't buy a car, even one this small, without air conditioning. Another feature you can get on this is satellite navigation, and that's an extra £700, which isn't too bad. For £150, you can get a program which will mirror exactly what's on your smartphone directly on the car's screen. Now, it won't let you see certain apps such as YouTube, because after all, it'd be a bit dangerous if you could watch videos while you were driving. As before, the Polo is a practical little car. It's one of the very best super minis for in-car storage spaces, and its boot is one of the best too. Not only is it large, but if you put the false floor in its highest position and fold the seats down, you get a flat low bay which makes it easier to load and unload. Space here in the back is just as good. I've got enough knee room and headroom, so children will be fine, and for reference I am 5'11". That driver's seat is in my position as well, and this is, as you probably noticed, the 3-door model. The 5-door is even more practical, and you know, if you've got kids and you're going to be loading child seats, you probably do want the 5-door model because its rear doors open nice and wide, and that makes it easier to load and unload items. To be fair, Volkswagen has added some new safety kit to the Polo: anti-skid control, hill start, and a system that applies the brakes if someone rear ends you are all standard, while on the options list there's now automatic cruise control and emergency city braking to prevent low speed collisions. The final change are a raft of updated engines, and on average the new Polo is 23% more efficient than it was before. If you do lots and lots of miles, then I suggest you go for one of the diesels, and you can get one, a Blue Motion version, which will top 80 miles per gallon. If you're just going to be driving around town and occasionally do some motorway journeys, then I'll go for one of the new 1-litre 3-cylinder petrol engines. Now you can get that in 2 versions. There's a low power version, which this car is, and I'd avoid it because if you do want to go on the motorway and then try to overtake someone, you're going to be having to go like that to go quicker because it struggles for pace. The higher power version isn't actually that much more powerful, but it does feel noticeably swifter out on the road and is definitely the better bet. When it comes to the rest of the driving experience, this new Polo is exactly the same, unsurprisingly, as the old Polo. So we've got good all-round visibility, we've got steering that's nice and light in town but not overly light when you're at speed that the car feels nervous. You've got some good handling, it's sure-footed, there's plenty of grip, it doesn't roll about too much, yet the suspension, it's nice and comfortable. So too are the seats. You can do miles and miles in this Super Mini, and it's extremely quiet to travel, and you get hardly any wind noise or road noise, and it's a very, very nice, comfy, good all-round Super Mini it actually feels like a bigger car. If there is one problem with it though, it's that the Polo does lack the fun factor that you get with a Ford Fiesta. So if you want your Super Mini to make you giggle, I think you're probably going to be better off with a Ford than this one. Maybe this has something to do with why the old Polo didn't even rank in the top 100 of the 2014 Driver Power Owner Satisfaction Survey. And don't forget, this new one is pretty much exactly the same car. Despite this though, Volkswagen Polos tend to hold their value pretty well when you come to sell them on. They have good levels of kit so long as you don't go for the entry-level car, and it's reasonably priced. For a Volkswagen anyway. Still, if it's value for money you're after, you should definitely check out our review of the Kia Rio by clicking on that video window up there. If it's a more fun to drive Super Mini you're after, check out our review of the Ford Fiesta by clicking down there. Click here, you can see our very latest video review, and if you click up there on our logo, you can subscribe to the Carbuyer YouTube channel.